Yeah, so
I'm writing that.
So what you're going to do is, what is the purpose of this first example? What's the purpose of the second example? Okay. What's the point of view? Do you guys see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the purpose of the first one is to entertain.
Poetry, I've always thought, like, in contrast with prose, is sort of like an elaboration on prose, especially in this, where the texts like talk about two related things, you know? So the prose, what that did was sort of set the stage. It just laid down facts, and then the poetry actually, like, you know, lit it up with imagery. Yeah. So that's one of the things that sets poetry and prose so apart. Except prose poetry. How do we talk about that? So I would say something like purpose is, you know, elaboration for poetry, exposition for prose.
Plus, if you're writing a poem, it's most likely going to be like individual.
Yeah, exposition.
Imagery is like what you see in the poem, or like if you had a previous like example or something, like you can make that connection.
So the point of view of the first one is kind of more like more personal, and number two is more like neutral.
The point of view in the first one is his own point of view, and then the second one it's basic, what everyone is, true for everyone, for everything.
Yeah.
So. One person's point of view.
First person would have to use
Like the form of it is verse.
I watched
So the form of the first one is it's in verses, but do we write it's in prose or do we write it's in regular?
Try to describe the prose, the form itself. What do you notice in there?
It's just like regular writing. So
Yeah,
we
it could
write
be.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
paragraphing, indent, periods, right? And what kind of writing is that?
It's just like paragraph, like essay writing.
Yeah. Do you know what like the term is for that? Like, it's not a narrative, it's not an argumentative.
Oh, informative.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Imagery, right on the face of the sea. Wait, are we saying what the imagery is doing?
Yeah. What are some examples maybe of some imagery in there?
Okay. Examples, right on the face of the sea, sodden land, face of the sea, filling the veil as daylight falls.
Second example.
Yeah. What do you think when you look at that second example? Whose point of view is it told from?
It's more telling information, so it's telling someone
Yeah.
rather than telling from someone.
Good. Excellent. So what do we call that? Sort of as a point of view.
I'm not sure.
That's all right. Is that like a third person point of view? Yeah. Sort of an objective point of view.
Okay.
Like it's there because,
We're just
it's
giving
like,
examples of it?
Yeah, and maybe maybe describe sort of how that imagery is being used, like what it's being used for.
Oh, the first one over.
And the second one you put to give evidence, and it's kind of no one's point of view, it's a fact. Did you get that, Jackie? Okay, good. Next. Imagery. Just helping everyone.
Okay. Gosh, Sammy, I'm so done.
He's like saying what he sees, and the next one is saying what's happening.
Looks like we probably need about 2 more minutes, I think. Okay.
Imagery.
Because the second
I'm
one
gonna
is just
edit
like
this out.
typical writing, like like how you read a paper.
Yeah, like you said, like, yeah.
The first one you imagine like the scene, and the second one you imagine like the actual.
I'm gonna turn back over to you. So I'm just gonna get like a few responses from each of these. And then there's a little chart we'll look at, and then one more little part.
Okay.
So how about one more minute?
Do you want to check and see if there's any others before you take off? Aisha.
What are you? Well, you ratchet.
Future of America, right here.
From two totally different.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah. And fog and mist. All right. Why don't we come on back here together as a large group?
I'll sound.
All right. So this is what I'd like to do, just real briefly, is that I'd like to go through the chart just to get a sort of a few responses in terms of these particular parts, and then I'll show a slide that has some other things that we may have already considered or they might be new for us. But let's talk first about purpose. One of the key differences between prose and poetry is purpose, right? What is the purpose of example 2?
To inform.
Yeah, to inform about what in particular?
The fog.
Yeah, the fog and
science
the
of it.
rain and how it works, right?
Water cycle.
The water cycle, how it gets there, right? That's the purpose of it. There's no doubt about it, right?
Just as national weather, like that's a bunch of people filling in.
Yeah.
And that's just one person.
Ah, good, excellent. So you really this is one person's sort of sense of it, right? But this is probably a whole bunch of people doing it. Good, excellent, because purpose is part of the audience, right? Who's receiving this information, right? Who might receive this information? Who would actually be curious about this? Geologists, weather people, scientists, someone who might be, I don't know, doing a research paper on fog, I suppose, right? Okay. What about here? What's the purpose of this one? You want to try?
To entertain.
To entertain. In some ways, poetry is supposed to entertain us, right? Give us some kind of insight into things. Good. What's another purpose, do you think? Yeah.
To bring it to life.
Yeah. This whole notion of rain and fog, right, that seems so, I don't know, clinical over here, that here it's brought more to life. Yeah, good. Any other purposes? You were kind of getting at this idea of sort of one person's point of view, right? This is expressing one person's personal sort of
Feelings or surroundings.
yeah, feelings about this. How am I feeling as I'm watching this, right? I'm communicating that in some ways. So not a whole lot of feeling over here. All right, let's talk about point of view. We talked about it a little bit already. Point of view of this one right here?
Third person.
Third person. I mean, could you identify a person in this at all?
No.
Right. I mean, it's just it's an objective third person kind of point of view, right? Over here?
First.
It is a first person, right? As I watch hand in hand. So we have a speaker in here. Some people were saying that maybe the speaker is Rudyard Kipling. Well, let's be clear. This is what? Who is this? He's the author. Not always the speaker. In other words, the speaker can be someone else. It can be a narrator. But how does this person feel about what he's seeing or she's seeing?
Observant.
Observant. Good. Filling the veils as the daylight fails and blotting the desolate sand. What's the desolate sand? Yeah. Sad, right? This is not like the person who's, I can't wait to see more rain. Yeah. Go Portland. Rain, right? Not that. So this is a totally different point of view and perspective on what rain is and what it means and what it feels than over here. All right, imagery. Imagery, we remember from the beginning, was sort of about creating these visual pictures in our minds through language, right? So what are some examples of imagery? Let's go to the easy one. Example 1. What are some instances of imagery?
Watch it.
Which one?
As I watch it.
As I watch it? That kind of create. Oh, I see, because you're kind of watching something, yeah. Let's look at this one here. And the window pane is blurred with rain. Picture that in your mind. Can you see a window pane? Can you see it sort of blurry because of the rain that's there? That's imagery. How about another piece of imagery from the first example?
Mist on the sodden land.
Which one?
Mist on the sodden
Yeah, mist on the sodden land, right? You can picture that, what the land looks like now. It's just heavy and weighted with this water in that way. Sodden land. What about imagery over in the other one?
Water evaporates from the warm rain.
Yeah. I mean, very clinical in that way, right? It evaporates. It's the water cycle that you were talking about there. Such fog can be quite dense. Is that imagery?
Yeah.
Kind of. It kind of creates a picture, a little bit. Right? Not quite as as daylight fails and blotting the desolate sand. What about the form? We talked about this a little bit already. How is this one written, format-wise? What's the form of this?
Like a paragraph.
It's a paragraph, right? It would just exist within an essay or something else, an informational text about rain and fog in that way. What is the form of this?
Verse.
It is in verse. Right? We've got stanzas. We've got line breaks. We've got stanza breaks. Right? We've got rhyme. So the form is different. So the point of this, and you're going to see, I think when we do one more thing, is that prose is one thing, poetry is another thing. There could be some overlap, but there are some distinct components in terms of purpose, point of view, imagery, etc. Right? Here are some other ones that